Good evening, Free Enterprise race fans, and welcome to tonight's Tournament Prep League race. Tonight's flag set is the Potion After Party, where they have taken the Evelyn Alexa League Potion Party flag set and kind of reimagined it as a bracket stage flag set. So the overall format staying the same with 6 out of 8 objectives, O win, C hero, and treasures being money. But the adjustment has been made that it's T Pro instead of T Wildish and S Standard instead of S Wild. So kind of a pullback on those power. J items have been added back in, so you can go and buy those again. So that kit isn't quite so pivotal to make it a little more interesting. Tonight, our racers are going to be Garen and Scythe Marshall. We'll start with Scythe. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, Beauty. This is the flag set is a lot of fun. I always I struggled a little bit with Potion Party, as you well know. Says Scythe to the person who beat him in Evelyn Elixir League, but it's definitely a really interesting twist on the flags. Uh, the S standard really changes how you get your power. So I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, I felt that a little bit in my own race. Garen, how about yourself? What are your thoughts? How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right, Beauty. My thoughts are that okay, this is gonna be trying to find a shop in the overworld that has something useful for starting characters and see how it goes.
Yeah, and I think that kind of takes me to my first point. With that change in T Pro and S Standard, with S Wild, you could kind of find just about all the power you needed on the overworld potentially. So how does this change your starting routing?
Garen, go for it.
I'm probably gonna go someplace that has a lot of chests, but not Evelyn probably, because I want to come back there for the traps later. I'll probably go someplace that's not as dangerous, and just try to get a lot of boxes and get some cash in there, and then check the shops near those chests and see how it works out. Oh, I didn't realize how I quit the race there.
I will wait for 10 seconds. It's fine. That's a very funny starting item. All right, we should be synced up again.
Yeah, started with an Edward there and a set of crystal armor. Unfortunately, with those,
it's cash, but it's not much else.
yeah, I know with those J items come back in, Bacchus comes into play. So I think that's another interesting one. J items are back. They were hard limited before. Do you have any thought to once you have access to those gated shops, if that's going to change maybe your shopping patterns? Start with Scythe.
Yeah, I want my Bacchus. I want my hourglasses, right, to top up the ones I have. I think for me, I've crushed part of Baron, but I think for me, I'm really interested in information right now, and I don't know if I'm going to find it, but we'll see. Ooh.
About highs and lows there.
Yeah, always the interesting thing I think with T Money on is you really get an idea of how much these things that you normally get from chess cost, and then also how much more that costs to actually pick them up from a shop.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't steal from the merchants in this game. Make a lot more fun if you could.
Maybe. All right.
Now, Sid, not a terrible starting character, but Eddie, quite a bit more squishy there, and maybe a little troublesome to outfit this party to give him some staying power. Garen, with the shopping patterns, what are you trying to find for that Sid to get him to be able to carry this poor Eddie?
A coffin? No,
Carry him to heaven.
Ooh.
Dark.
No, I'd probably be looking for Sid. A good bow would be nice with some arrows, or one of the better axes would be nice too. I'll take an earth rod if nothing else shows up, but
S standard says earth hammers can show up on the overworld, so that's what I would like. I'd be appreciative of that. Sammy bows would also be kind of good. Really, I'm just trying to find any. Okay, cool. That's sure. Speak and speak it into existence. Why not?
I think the Earth Hammer is actually a little interesting too because it does have just a smidgen of sweeping power when used as an item. I think that's the other thing that's interesting with J items back on is there is maybe a few things you can pick up in shops in the overworld to give you a little bit of attack power, things like vampires and such. So, now that you can actually get your hands on them, is there any thought on? Do you spend some time shopping for those items, especially for Eddie here, who's just not going to put out good damage?
So, some of the stuff is good. Like if you happen to stumble across vampires, then a stack of vampires can get you through the overworld. Um, we'll see if we do a lot of that. I do kind of want to start moving with this party, though. Aha! That is what I wanted to find.
So thankfully, you still do start with the trap kit with that assassin dagger and a few hourglasses, and now you're not going to be quite so limited. With power being a little bit more restricted, Scythe is there may be you know a hesitation to go take on trap chest earlier rather than later.
Well, actually, like I think it's probably rip that dude. Okay, this fight could have gone better. I want to be able to do it quickly, and if I'm slowly going through monster boxes, then I'm losing time, especially if they zonk. So I think for me, I'm definitely looking for like being able to do them like quickly. This fight is a mess. Oh well, it's fine.
I had a nickel for every time. Garen, I think one of the other tricky parts with trap chests, especially with K-Trap on, is, they could have your value behind them, but there's also value in the experience they give you, especially if you end up finding a Palom on the overworld. Does that ever inform your routing, especially in this particular change in the flag set to when do I actually go do those chests? Do I want to kind of save that experience for future party members?
I don't actually worry about it too much. All right, not good for this time, so try again later.
I guess I should do something slightly more reasonable than what I just did. There we go. Well, a little bit of jitters. I haven't played these flags in a while, so.
I haven't touched it since probably the tournament was live, so.
Yeah, right. That's unfortunate. I thought that would have been helpful, but that's okay. Let's do. Right now, I have a few different options for what I could be doing. One option is interesting, and one option is maybe very dangerous. So we're gonna do the not dangerous option.
So, Garen, I think one of the other things, especially in the traditional potion party, was when you're shopping, it's kind of hard to pre-plan your party. And I noticed, you passed up on a boomerang you just saw in a shop. Do you ever have a thought to like, what if I find an edge, or you see something like a really nice spear for Kane? Should I pick that up early, or do you have some sort of tracker? Do you keep notes for those sort of things?
It would probably be a good idea to do that. Generally speaking, I don't. Which gets me into trouble at times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, this is here. That's fun. This is doable at this point, so.
Yeah, certainly a pretty good location for that demist.
Mm-hmm. But done with a different character there, but oh well.
I have to say this is a little bit of a slow start, even after finding what I wanted to find. This party isn't exactly super beefy.
Let's get Eddie. That's almost like getting the veggie option.
Well, you know what? Like, Edward's fine sometimes. He just needs some multipliers, that's all.
He needs a spoon, is what he needs.
True. Spoon is on. Could just find it. Where am I going? I guess
It's either in the first place or look at the last.
Yeah. Typical.
I think one of the tricky things that I feel with Edward, even with a spoon, is he is really fairly squishy. So even with a spoon, do you still want to keep him around? Or if you see someone in our Sea to Sinks pool of 7 that is better, maybe an edge that can dart that spoon, do you still try and keep him around?
I'm an Edward apologist. I'll gladly take him, but he's not like the end all be all. He's really fast, which is helpful. Like, if he could get some levels, then I could do RA1 monster boxes, maybe. Okay. Tough shopping choices, but I think they were the right ones.
Yeah, I feel
Being
like
the hero is interesting because you have this ready-made anchor as soon as you find like a dwarf axe or a curse ring. There are no curse rings in Potion Party, but dwarf axe would be helpful.
If nice would be Omni have double dwarf axe. That's always nice.
Okay, what does this look like? Does this kill? It does. Cool.
So, Garen, I feel like you're making a pretty interesting choice in here with K-Trap on, kind of making a pretty early dive up for that Flame Dog as opposed to maybe some of the more traditional K-main checks. Do you feel like it's because of the ease of that Flame Dog, or is it more trying to stay away from the other checks?
I'm not saying. I think it's just that the. Oh, come on.
You got this.
I think in this case it's because that has oftentimes proven to be a fairly pivotal chest in this flag set. It's my experience with it.
Yeah, the Flame Dog sure, like, it made a name for itself in Potion Party. You know, check the Fire Pupper or the Up Dog. I think Up Dog was the meme, right?
That was the meme.
Well, it's coming back for OMGs, so that'll be good.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm not as familiar with the pool, but I know that, the randomizer will look at where key items can fall. Will give each location a likelihood for them to fall, and then if it gets picked, then it will kind of distribute them. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. So I know that does end up adding a little bit more favorability to Flame Dog, correct?
Yeah, so like all the regions that could have something, if they have at least one monster box, then that is added to the pool, up to 2. And then past 2, they sort of flip a coin. And so you sort of have diminishing returns after that. So like the LST and the Self Cave, they are not disproportionately like loaded. Flame Dog being in Zot, a location with only one monster box, sort of has a similar weighting to K-main checks. So it's fairly likely to find something. Okay.
Yeah, I think the tricky thing here is with Vanilla Traps off, you don't know where he can fall, and you may have to dig pretty deep in Zot. That is one thing about OMG, our upcoming tournament, is that Vanilla is on. It makes it at least a little more predictable to go after him.
Yeah. All right, I found something I wanted. Can I buy the thing I wanted?
Oh, that was
Sure.
convenient.
Now, Scythe, you found your magma key. You're way underground. I'm noticing that you were kind of making the decision to go right there without finishing any the rest of the overworld checks that are open to you. What's your thought process here in terms of making that decision?
Well, there's better gear in like the underworld, right? So this party is a little bit flustered for stuff. I do know where I want to end up. Gonna go back up above ground and do a couple more things, but just making sure I get a little bit of cash so I can start buying some stuff. Housekeeping supervisor, by the way. And maybe I'll get some information on... Ooh, that's a really good item. So is that, actually. I'll be back for the other stuff. This thing. Okay. All right. I think this helps. The other thing, just walk right back into the town. The other thing that you can find down here are some free key items. So if I happen to pull the spoon, then all of a sudden this goes really well. I could also do... I'm going to save. I could also do the Lower Babel monster boxes. I don't think it's a good idea. I'm not going to. But various potion party races were sort of decided by someone deciding, oh yeah, I'll take the first couple of chests on the way up Lower Babel and find a go mode. So being able to use Sid with his machine hitting hammers sort of is a nice little benefit.
Yeah, I recently learned myself that they are not weak to lit, despite what you would think. It's the machine hitting power of the Thunderclaw that gets them traditionally. So logging that one away for future use.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that's another interesting point. With K-Trap on, you do end up having 4 trap chests in the tower, which gives you 5 checks up there without the tower key. Which makes it quite a bit more alluring. Does that end up drawing you there a lot sooner because of that? Do you maybe even make an early dive? Or would you more prefer waiting till you can at least take top a tower to kind of get all those checks in rather than just the monster boxes?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because it's still only, you're only guaranteed to be adding 2 checks into the pool and not 5. Oh, really? I just do that, right? Yeah, I just do that. Cool. Don't save. Saving's unimportant.
Famous last
words.
Yeah, Jinx.
Saving is unimportant. Oh, saving was important. Okay, well, it's still fine, because this guy will figure it out. It doesn't matter. This does 1 billion damage. Yeah. This is fine.
Eddie on both sides proving to be difficult when he gets to low HP and starts into his hide cycle.
Almost like a butterfly. He just goes into his little shell there.
Okay, so that's this fight. Yeah. Okay, there we go. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Having fun over there?
Yeah, it's fine. This other spot, I'm No.
No need to
Nope.
panic. But Garrett, now that you've picked up your bag, Mickey, kind of some of the same questions for you now. You obviously have a choice here to continue with your overworld or go underground, or potentially route in that tower. So I'd be curious to see if you're heading underground right now, if you think an early tower play is useful.
Well, not what I've got right now, no. If I find some litter somewhere, then maybe I'll hop in and do that, because it'll give Eddie fighting chance at maybe living to get one for hide, but yeah, right now I'm probably gonna end up routing in to get a little bit more power, because it's lacking.
Yeah, chat bringing up another interesting thing with this flag set. Be no free is on, so normally you look at those dark imps and maybe they're a little tricky, but hey, we've got an hourglass. Maybe not so much at that spot.
Yeah, the hourglasses in this flex are only useful for the trap chests, pretty much.
So fun story. If you find the alt gauntlet, you can use hourglasses on the alt gauntlet, but not the vanilla gauntlet. Pretty funny.
Yeah, whoopsie.
I guess that somewhat makes sense. Vanilla is still somewhat of a boss encounter, I guess, because it's scripted, whereas All Gauntlet is pulling those fights from the world around, so it ends up just being 5 consecutive random fights in a way instead.
Yeah.
Still odd nonetheless.
Yeah. Also, the so Lower Babel, like it is kind of a meme play to do that. The issue is that Super Cannon is one of our six. You need 6 out of 8 objectives. Super Cannon is one of them. So I don't really want to double dip because it's so, like it takes a lot of time. Like it's like another minute or so. Kind of a pain.
Unless the tower key is one of the trap chests in Babel, in
Unless
which
the
case
tower key is just right there. Yeah.
Or it's at the top of tower. That's interesting. Okay.
Good old vanilla.
Well, that was not vanilla, but I'll still take it.
Okay. Where to next? I think I know where I'm going next. I have a little bit of power now. So
This
I
Mimi is
think...
Ubi, I'm not thinking of a bird shirt. Just no.
Oh yeah, this... no.
So when S Wild was on, you certainly needed quite the stack of cash. If you end up seeing something like, say, an Avenger on that you're just not going to see in a shop with a standard. Now that you both have your Earth Crystal, I'm curious, with T-Money on, do you feel like it still is worth it potentially to take that treasury, even if you end up routing that in there sooner rather than later?
I think I would go there pretty early anyway. It's just where I'm currently at. I would also want to finish all of Zot. Like, if I'm doing the treasury, I'm also going all the way up Zot. And no, I was right here. There was a point to doing this. Let's see.
Yeah, once again, I guess upper Babel suddenly has a little more value with that Flame Dog chest. It's 2 checks rather than 1, and a long one at that.
Hello.
Ooh, this paid off. Let's go.
Oh, that is some fun favorability.
Okay.
Now, alas, Garen shown us those sirens that in a shop. Not quite as fun when Noah EXP is on. You cannot grind with those, but still picking up a couple. What's your thought there, Garen?
In case you're just dealing with Edge in there, that would be helpful.
Yeah, there are some monsters you can steal some interesting stuff for. I think have I seen silkwebs? I don't think I've seen silkwebs. Not yet.
Aqua Swine's
They'll
also
be-
popular, doesn't roll into the shops.
Okay. I sold one of my sirens, like, whatever. Grab a little bit of extra cash, and then we'll do this. We'll do this check, and then we'll follow that earth crystal. Actually, well, I'll decide. We'll see what I get up here. I think not having purchased vampires was probably suboptimal, but we'll make it work. I got nothing else. Aha! I did see those. Okay. There we go. How much HP do these things have?
Too much.
Too much? Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, always a bit of a question, regardless of flag set. Especially now that you can't just kind of pick up as much as you'd like. Yeah, speaking of Be No Safe, that interesting boss on your side, Scythe, because one of the other things that I learned while kind of prepping myself to do commentary here is that boss bit does come back to a few of the bosses that lose the boss bit or maybe don't have, maybe not their entire hole has the boss bit on them, so you can kind of take advantage of that. But that's restored with Be Unsafe as well, not just your quote-unquote free bosses.
Yeah, so I could have hourglassed that fight. Instead, I used the Earth Hammer. Cool. Sounds good.
Thank you very much to Scar Tracker correcting me. Not Be Unsafe, Be No Free. Distinct difference.
Yeah. Ooh. I keep swapping weapons away from the Earth Hammer. Unfortunate. This boss about to get a big fistful of Earth Hammer. Except he's so slow. Oh boy.
Catch 22 of Sid.
Oh my god, that was... Where are those Cure 3s? Just do that. It's fine. Something you learn when playing the solo scramble, I remembered. The solo scramble was a single character flag set that Eskrun ran a club for this season. And basically you did some of the early overworld checks with one character. Not dupes of one character, just one character. And one thing you find out is that Cure 3s are very good offensively in the early game. And so that's all I did there. Slap a Cure 3 on that boss. And then 4 steps of poison walk. Sorry about that. Okay. Cool. Oh, gross. It's fine. Sort of.
So, Garen, having seen a white mage, I think one of the things that was most interesting with potion parties with no J items on, it really raised the stock of white mages because you need that berserk, that blink, rather than finding the J item. Do you feel like it lessens their stock to have those put back in the pool, are you more likely to make a decision not to take this white mage, or I guess yeet them in the future?
Probably
So-
more likely to keep the white mage, but
Well, that was embarrassing. Yeah, I deserve that. Cool.
thank you for that lovely wall. That was helpful.
All right. Well, so rule number 1 of free enterprise: do not just give your opponent free time. Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of that this time around, so we're even on that score.
Oh goodness!
Come on, really?
I did not realize that was as unfortunate for you, Scythe, as it was.
That was embarrassing. Let's not do that again. Oh yeah, I can do that with this character. Yep. And this is why normally we get the top tier players like Rybon and Pancraz and Possum on this channel.
Think of this as a Pink Puff League attempt at it.
No, I'm not, but I've never been Pink Puff. I started playing long before the Pink Puff League started, so.
Oh, where do I go next? Let's see, can I make this work this time? Let's see.
Yeah, Possum and Chat making a good point. The Tournament Prep League flag sets are supposed to get you tournament ready, so they generally are a lot more tougher. And like I said at the top here, this is kind of a reimagining of a bracket seed, so no shame in kind of taking a little bit more. Heaven knows I would be if I was here running.
You calling for a pizza?
I feel like this this fight is going the same way as it did before, except I've remembered to equip the right weapon this time. There we go. Could have crit that last time anyway. All right, so take 2 at this fight. It's important to remember that the boss gets healed. So even if you're like doing some really funny mathematics to say, yes, this is the right amount of damage, it'll work. Probably important to remember that your character is slow.
Definitely one of the important things to remember with the Sea Hero flag set. There's only so much you can do with them.
And if Scarcer didn't get the key item this time, he's got it now. There we go. All right, so take 2. I'm going to actually kill the second, like the back part of this boss, and then it'll be fine. Everything is fine. You could have just done that the first time, Sid. Very funny. Okay. Well, we're having fun anyway.
As long as chat's having fun, that's the important part, right? Well, not much value there after all, it turns out.
So I think one of the other interesting things going back to S standard here is kind of like I was mentioning, you can't exactly just buy your way into good gear anymore. I think maybe Garen, as you're starting to kind of burn through some of these K main and straightforward checks, are you thinking about what kind of loot you actually might pull out of trap chest as opposed to a key item? Does that kind of change up how you route those in rather than maybe sticking with finishing off your K main checks?
I changed my decide to do the trap chest because like I'm sure I can do them, I've been kind of holding off till I get a little more power to do them. So, you know. Well, this is an interesting thing to see here, isn't it now?
Would prefer it probably one spot later.
Depending on what shows up in the next spot, that could be right.
All right, hey Sid, there you go. All right, cool.
Oh, I'm silly. I should have switched out weapons. Okay, let's do that now. Hey, that's a little better.
Went the wrong way in this place. There is an optimal minimum tiles path through this dungeon. I did not take it, but that's okay. Like, it's faster to get this chest from the top. Like, one fewer tile.
So, Scythe, having picked up a Luca key, that is, one of our objectives here. Now, usually you could take advantage of the good old warp glitch, assuming that you have access to warp. But even if you did, and you had that access that you really needed, does it change how you route in Sealed Cave versus Dwarf?
Well, I don't currently have a warp caster. If I were to find a warp caster, that might be nice. But I do not currently have one. Let's see. Porum. Interesting.
But assuming that you did, would you still try and take Dwarf Castle to try and see what the key item was, or would you just kind of lean into the fact that you got to go there anyways, or potentially go there anyways for an objective?
I think if I had the ability to take the boss down there, then I would consider. I would definitely consider going down there. As it stands, I'm not entirely sure that my party can beat any boss down there. So probably leaning dwarf, especially because it's another character. I do not. Okay, that's really. Okay. Interesting little boss there. It's unfortunate because even though I have it, I can't really do anything with it now. And with Eno XP on, I can't even take doors for experience.
The other cheeky aspect of that dungeon. So I think one thing you're both running into with your respective parties is, kind of what's available to you versus what power you have, as you were kind of touching on there, Scythe. So I'd be curious, Garrett, once you're finished up with the dungeon that you're tackling, do you start having thoughts about where my next check is as you're starting to kind of burn through some of the more traditional ones?
I think we know where my next check is going to be after seeing what's on the screen there.
Uh-oh. Oh no, he found Harp. I'll have to... I might be following soon. Let's see, nothing else. Let's hold back to here.
Couldn't give me anything better than that. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no. Oh no. I'm being bullied. Fine. Well, thanks, Luca. Cool. All right.
All right. So what is this? Is this doable?
Sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit of a trickier spot.
Does that?
Well,
All right, go visit the infirmary. It's been a while since I've seen that screen. Figured folks on the restream might want to check. Sure. Those are good items. And yeah, we'll hit a save and then give this a shot. I have ways through this fight. Yes, I have ways through this fight. That's very funny. Cool. All right. This will be fun. Get those.
Yeah, I think this is one of the fights on your site that really benefits from having J items back in the pool and having access to some of the abilities that they give you. Whereas, on the traditional potion party, you had to be maybe a little more conservative with what you got in your kits.
Yeah. I think I may have mistimed this slightly, yeah. Try and cycle it a little bit. There we go.
oh duh.
Perfect. The illusion spam was perhaps not required, but you know what? It's fine. Just made it safe, and I have lots of money.
You never know when it's going to go off the rails.
The fun part is that the boss and Sid were about the same speed, so I think they were the same. It just works out that way. Let's see this fight. What the heck do I do with this fight? I do this. And then I do this. Cool. Unfortunately, that was split experience for the character I just got, but oh well.
Once again, showing off that strat that you used earlier. Very effective on some of these earlier fights.
Yep. Cure 3s offensively, and also things like the Rune Axe, Mute Dagger, Mute Arrows, Elven Bow. Mage killing is some of the best stuff you can come up with. And it's paid off. Paid off this seed so far. Okay. Yeah. All right. Sure. Sounds good. That really helps. That's just really useful. Now the question is, do I have a good enough bow? Archer bow? Sammy arrows? That's not really good enough. All right.
Maybe not what you'd want to see from a key item check, but also not half bad for the character that you're popping it onto.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's pretty good. Yeah, you can keep that. You can keep that. Hmm. Double check. Is that? Ooh, that's alright. Sid. Oh well, that's fine. Where are you at? Okay. Think that's fine. We'll figure it out. Oh no, I need that guy alive. Ah, okay. All right. Well, when in doubt, throw hourglasses. It's okay. These checks are entirely to beef the character that just got up. Goodbye, Edward. That was a wasted sound staff bonk. Oh well. Probably could have Berserk Sid, would have helped, but
If I
this
could,
fight
I would.
think is right. This fight's always going to be a little bit slow.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the fights that you wish you had a sweeper for. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's like I'm trying to get my sweeper online. He's just not there yet. Getting there, just not there yet. That result was kind of funny. All right, take two.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that Earth Hammer is going to do quite the trick either.
That's okay. Porum's got this. Look at that. Beautiful. Oh.
Yay!
Okay, this guy needs to be alive, though.
Oh, there's the Berserk that would have been so helpful just now.
GG's, Garen. The race within the race on that fight.
The race within the race? Oh no. Alright, Palom gained 2 levels.
Now the question is, will we get paid off for it or not? Probably not, but
Yeah, always a little bit tricky sometimes. You run into maybe a longer boss fight and you kind of think to yourself, is the payout going to be worth the time spent, you know? Did you have any thought about potentially backing out of that, Garen, or were you pretty committed?
well, it's a question of where do you go? I mean, you know, that's either doing trap chests or going underground again for the most part. And you know, I think the other payoff is going to be a little bit better from this. So, before I do that, though, there's going to be a little bit of a time loss. But since I totally exhausted my supply on that,
Okay, I found the thing I was looking for. Yeah, you can just...
One other thing I was enjoying there, Garen, is showing off one of the other aspects of vampires. You know, they don't just do damage, which is pretty helpful. They do heal who uses them. So they can be a little clutch as essentially a Cure 2 replacement.
Mm-hmm.
yes. Although, if I had more, I probably would have been using more, just because not really all that helpful in that spot, except for the pinch.
Oh, this is going really well.
So now I kind of have to go here. So let's see how this
Yep.
works out.
Just get lucky, forehead. Did not just get lucky.
Okay, here we go.
Just lean into the dream part of 30 Sirens, and the Sirens won't work. That's all you got left.
All right. Okay.
Well, they'll still work, just that the payoff won't work.
I was just trying to avoid having to throw hourglasses. That was maybe not the appropriate thing to do.
Hey, seriously.
You just, it's fine. Eric. Well, this is embarrassing. Where did I last save? Outside of Eblin. Okay, I only picked that item up. That's cool. Okay. Not like I got much. Just keep playing. Oh boy.
Yeah, interesting thought. When do you be conservative versus when do you throw caution to the wind, right? You got a lot to get through. There's, even with K-Moon off, there's still plenty of trap chests to go through. So, when you're kind of planning in a flag set where you're limited, even with Jay Adams back in, are there any particular fights that you really think to yourself, yeah, I'm going to throw the Hourglass in that fight no matter what?
I don't think I would have said anything in particular. Of course, that's that's before I've wiped twice to fights that I should not have wiped to. So I don't know. I'll have to take a mulligan on that. One thing that I think some runners, myself sometimes included, fall prey to is the whole elixir hoarding issue. Cool, thanks. Where you keep all of your items, but your items don't stay with you to the next seed. So if you have a stack of 5 hourglasses just burning a hole in your back pocket, there's no reason to keep them, right? Like, you might as well use them to make your fights easier. You waste a lot less time not wiping. Anyway, I found an item. That's a pretty okay item.
It's a thing for sure.
Oh boy.
It's certainly a thing you're making the decision to go after right away.
Yeah, I want the key item, or not the key item. I want the character check, and I also want the significant amount of experience that I can get from the monster box and the location I'm about to go to. So I feel like this is a reasonable play. It's probably not the play, but it's a reasonable play. It's certainly defendable to some extent. Aha, yes. Things are good, actually. I have a strategy. Can I get the character I want? That's the character I wanted. I have a strategy.
Come on,
right.
Really?
Let's go.
So Garen, staying true to your word, as soon as you finished up with where you were working on, you routed in right to where you kind of implied you were going. With the situation you're in, it's an interesting choice. Where do you go after this? Does that change things for you as well now?
Well, not really. I think I'm going to end up going where I was going to go next, anyways. Just because what I found here does not really change where I'd be going.
Yeah, I guess I was a little curious because once again with S Wild tuned down to S Standard, that gear proposition is always a little more tricky, and maybe trap boxes can give you a bit more value than just the key items they normally do. So I was a little curious if that factored into your decision.
I was hoping I'd find something in the stores that was really useful, but not with this party. So yeah, putting off the traps does probably not help at all. But we'll see how this plays out. Also, quite a bit of vanilla where I went, so go figure.
Well, I found a character. Unfortunately, this character isn't particularly well geared, but you know what? It's fine. Everything's fine. Stick this dude.
Oh, aren't they all naked when you get them?
I mean, I had some stuff to equip them with. It's fine. You're there, and then this, and that should be good. Yes. Save. And confirm that I still have hourglasses.
I think a little bit of the same question for you, Scythe. The character you just picked up very similarly is very gear dependent, and with S Standard back on and maybe having to find some of that gear from trap boxes, does that change up your thoughts on maybe the next checks you approach or the next areas you do?
I mean, a little bit. Mostly because I don't know. Okay. So is the guy, right? And you kind of want to just get the guy to do the thing. And so you want to expedite that process. So that's what we're going to try and do here. I did not get the kill. That's... Come on, Palom. Also did not get the kill. Oh well. I think he could have killed the front ones. Oh well. That's massive low roll. All right, thanks, dude. Cool. My favorite. Good old ADMP fight. Oh, and then he... All right, thanks, Palom. Good job, kid. But that's a whole bunch of levels on two characters who could really use them.
Yeah, rolls are going to be rolls sometimes, I tell you.
Yeah, all right, let's see. Where am I at? That... Oh. Okay, so sometimes the game just gives you, like, a whole bunch of stuff and you didn't deserve it. That just happened. I'll take it.
I think that touches on the nature of a randomizer. At a certain point, there's a certain level of gambling and choice that's to be made. And it's like, do you take something that's a little more gambly, or do you say, hey, my statistics say that K-main checks are more favorable in this position?
Yeah, all right. Well, hey Sid, you don't need this item anymore. Can he have it? Thanks. Cool. Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. What are you at? Yeah. Huh. It's 23. You're not alright one. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. So the thing I'm about to do is probably not what you should be doing on these flags, but we're gonna do it anyway because it's more fun. And if I get lucky, then things are good.
Yeah, I think that kind of circles back to what I was saying a little earlier about the gambling. You know, how do you balance that when you have, you know, maybe a tougher boss spot, but if you get a favorable roll, hey, you can spike a little bit of power from the experience from that tougher spot, and so forth. You know, do you have anything that you try to keep in mind when you make those plays?
Don't encounter this spot, probably. Strongly recommend not encountering that fight. But
Ooh, I think I can agree with you there.
So sometimes, right, you look at what you have and you say, well, what can I get away with? Judge Joe's really funny. He'll do this thing where he has a blink caster with a heroin robe, and then it's just cast blink. It's fine, right? Probably not the most optimal strategy for every fight, but you can do it on some fights. That fight, maybe you need 3 white mages. My party is not set up for that.
I think probably a similar question for you, Garen, is there any thought process that you have when it comes to balancing maybe a cheeky check that you are too squishy for, but maybe you're hoping for, you know, gambling with a easier boss?
Well, it can happen at times. I mean, I did one very recently where it's like, okay, almost no power, but good anyways, and it was a long slog, but you know, you got through. It was turned out to be the right play for what the seed was. Never know. But usually I'm going to try and get the levels, so cheeky plays, like, you know, power underwhelming, not really my specialty.
I think the silver linings gives you a little bit of an opportunity to try lower level strats or maybe some of the more niche strats on bosses rather than just power through them. So certainly can be a learning experience.
Okay, not having that for a while is probably hurt.
Sounds like the darkness crystal.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, so I think that touches a little bit on, you know, probably maybe a little squishier than you like for moon checks, but curious, Garen, if you have a thought to, you know, like I said, taking on some of those spots that you're hoping to get a key item off of, like K Value and Masamune.
Well, no key items. Right, no key items here. This is entirely
True.
Yeah, the Potion Party was known for basically all the objectives are dead ends.
Objectives. I think that's what my brain was thinking, my mouth otherwise.
Magnus' Field Cave, but
Who doesn't love a good K Value-less play?
and of course with Beano Freon, it's like it has to be ideally set up at this stage to take it.
But I think another interesting thing, both of you now have access to everything, right? You can go pretty much everywhere outside of a few, you know, gated dungeons with key items. Knowing that you need 6 out of 8 to win, that there's no trip to Z, thus this Darkness Crystal has limited value, does that change how you end up routing in some of your checks? Do you have a thought of like, do I want to end on the moon? Do I want to end on the Fey March? Do I want to try and get those moon checks out of the way? I guess maybe start with you, Scythe.
So I don't think this is the correct play, but I do really like not having to go to the moon twice. It's fun. The issue, of course, is that when your party is lower leveled, the fight I'm about to do, not always doable. We'll give it a shot. We'll see. We'll see what's here.
I'm sure this is a more exciting reveal on the dais for you than it was for me.
A little bit, yes. That sounds like maybe Cecil was at Zot. Uh-oh.
So I think a similar situation for you, Garen. You know,
Interesting.
I think, yeah, you went on up to the
Interesting.
moon. Are you trying to wrap up the moon in one go, or are you just trying to get a little information?
This is both information and one other thing coming up with it, so we'll see. This all tell me it's like, do I really come back to the moon or not? Just so I shoot for all the 6 objectives that are on the Earth.
This is really interesting. It's all okay. The fight I'm doing is very funny for a number of reasons. Okay. Right. Just do this. Okay. That.
The other aspect of maybe not being able to actually get through these fights, is there is information there, so you get to look at and make a decision. Man, that boss is completely insurpassable, or maybe, hey, I can always come back here. I don't want to come back to the moon twice, like you're saying, Scythe. So, do you ever make? We'll maybe start with Garen here. Do you ever make dives looking for information, or do you feel like that is a loss of time if you end up with a boss you can't take?
I'll definitely go both ways on that. I mean, occasionally I'll make the cheeky play, especially because since I'm normally going to get outrun by the better players, it would make sense to try the less likely play at times.
Similarly, Scythe, do you ever have a thought towards making dives for the information of what the boss is, even if you can't take them and get through the fight?
Sometimes.
Likely. Okay.
I think sometimes so I'm known for ill-advised moon plays, slightly more like reaching when I probably shouldn't be reaching as much. And okay, so I accept that that's just how I play sometimes, but also I know that I'm not necessarily as like I make more mistakes, and so I need to gamble a little bit more than other folks. That said, I think this one paid out. I think this is fine.
It's a tougher proposition in this because we're all in here together. You both are running the seed, and I'm doing my best here not to give away too much, give away the farm. But if you're on a one-on-one race where you have complete blankness, I imagine that there's a certain sense of like, I feel behind. Does that change that answer if you feel behind?
A little bit, but also sometimes. I think one thing I struggle with is the fact that I think one of the main ways to play the game is just like full clear overworld, full clear underground. Do stuff on the moon until you find your objectives, or like beeline your objectives once you have them. And for me, I kind of find that boring. So I'll reach a little bit more when it's really not the best time to reach. As you're preparing to play in a tournament, things like that, you're looking for trying to learn how to best sort of approach different seeds. You're learning the meta, and each runner is going to make their own little judgment calls about what is an appropriate type of gamble to make. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
And similar question for you, Garen. Have you ever had a situation in a race where, outside of having any information, you started feeling behind and you started getting maybe a little looser with your plays?
Taking a bunch of wipes will definitely do that. Or
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
hit the reset and realize, oh wait a minute, I didn't actually save before that reset.
Oh no, that one always feels bad.
Oof.
Yeah, especially if it's like you were in the menu and then you just absentmindedly forgot to actually hit the save button at the very end. Oops.
I found the menu. Really? Really? Mm. Okay, hold on. Take this off.
Perhaps one of the ruder spots for Odin.
Fine. We're doing it this way. Oh yeah, I'm still on. Yeah. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Some values are fine anyways.
Yeah, just hit that. That's fine. Still fine. Oh yeah, I forgot I have these. And then also those. Okay. Alright, so I should have turned my battle speed back up, but it's okay. I probably could have just thrown lit 3s at this boss and it would have been fine. But we're gonna do it the fun way. I even have exits in my inventory, so I can just... Palom didn't even die. This is probably not faster. Oh well.
Yeah, I think I have reset out of a Zansuken before, assuming that it's an auto kill, but yeah, there are some spots
when it
that you
really
can pull it
isn't.
through. Yeah.
Alright. And just wait, and wait, and wait. Alright. So, even though Be No Free is on, you can still Thunderstruck Odin. It's that simple. To wit, I made sure that Odin was, like, I increased its speed to make sure Odin was RA2, and then I also threw a Silk Web. So that fight was very, very safe.
That is an extremely tricky strat. I have not even mastered it myself. If you wouldn't mind, maybe for our viewers, but selfishly for me as well, reminding me how you execute on that.
Right. So the idea here is that there's Odin sets a flag, like a condition flag, to trigger like the end of the fight if he gets hit by a thunder item after his sword is raised. But that flag goes away when he sets his, like, when he goes to attack you for the third, like, Zentetsuken Odin thing. And so what you need to do is fit the Thor Rage or whatever you're casting in between the whatchamacallit, in between the sword raising and when Odin cues his next attack, which is hard when Odin is RA1. In that sense, or in that case, you're trying to really buffer effectively, and that's not always easy. However, if you're at a part where your anchor is fast enough so that the boss is not RA1, then all of a sudden you have the ability to sort of fit your Thor Rage cast in sort of wherever. And so it's a lot easier to make it work. So you really need to use the Silk Web, because then that makes Odin will raise his sword, and then the timer for Odin's until Odin's does the unsets the flag is at 2 instead of 1 tick. So that gives Edward onsets time for the Thor Rage to go off in between when Odin sets the flag and when Odin unsets the flag. If that made sense. So me making Odin RA2, and then also throwing a Silk Web was a little bit unnecessary, but I just wanted to play it really safe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fairly tight window regardless.
5. No, sorry, RA2. I don't know, that's... Odin strats are one of my favorite strats in the entire game just because of how, like, silly they are.
It is interesting to think about sometimes some of these things that were built in, that's purposely built in. How would a vanilla runner find that per se? Because I don't believe that there's any cues to that. I may be wrong. I could see a book. I think there might be a book in the Fey March on the shelf that.
Yeah, you have to talk to some NPC. No, I am still on battle speed 3. Is that a problem? Honestly, maybe not. Because this kid is going to throw that spell. And it's fine. Everything's fine. I guess, okay, so I just complained that, oh no, I'm still on battle speed 3, so I'm losing time. But it turns out that, like, battle speed 3 is, like, honestly not even the worst thing you could do sometimes. Just having the extra, like, ability to buffer enemy actions is often really handy. It does make the fight feel a little slower, but here we are.
I think especially when you have bosses that have multiple attacks, it can help a little bit in kind of getting things queued up a little bit faster if you're going to have to take a couple hits.
Of course, my Zerkers are hitting everything but the main part of the boss, but here we are. It's fine. Okay. So conveniently, I did come here with a warp caster now, so I can just warp out of here. That was sort of one reason I was like, it'd be nice to save this time getting out of the dungeon.
Yeah, one of the funner things figuring out when you are newer, especially to the randomizer, is where you can and cannot use exit.
Yeah, in this dungeon you can't use exit, but you can use warp. Actually, a couple of those. Notably, Zot is really funny. You can warp down almost every floor except the very last one. What was up there? Leviathan. I don't want to go back there. I also don't want to do that chest. I know. You pour him deep. Of course she does not have float. Alright. Cool. Right, I did the top chests. So we'll check the second floor.
So I think with this seed, you kind of had a fairly early Magna Key and a very early squishy party. So, you end up kind of checking your freebie in the Fey March fairly quickly. Is there ever a thought when you do have Fey March objectives, like in this flag set with King and Queen, of, okay, I have access to the underground, do you potentially fade that free item and then wait till you have the firepower to take on those bosses? Probably obviously informed by how soon you get that underground access or not. Like, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that, Garen, if you've ever kind of made the decision to fade the freebie, hoping that you can just go ahead and pick up the power to take on those objectives.
I never consciously faded the freebie, hoping that I'd get lucky with the Fame Rush bosses later.
I have.
I
Definitely
tend to
done
more
that.
often forget the Fame Arch trap chest because I don't usually pick it up on the way down, and that's led to oopsies of more than a few times.
Certainly one of the trickier parts of, I think, Potion Party as a flag set in general is having those objectives there really kind of makes it a little trickier. I think that's another thing that I hadn't thought about is that trap chest, right? You probably could take that on well before you take on the king and queen. So maybe do you fade, wait until you have the power for at least the trap chest first?
It makes sense to do it that way. I mean, as it is, I'm going to be doubling back to the Fame Arch probably, and if for some reason King and Queen can't go down, it might be a triple, which wouldn't be good at all.
You never like to see triples, but sometimes they just happen.
Almost turns the Fey March into Fabul in some ways with the pan checks.
Yeah. Let's see. So, I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler for Garen, I guess, but I'm at 4 objectives. I have access to a 5th objective, although it's very tough. So I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, I have roughly enough power to do pretty much anything I want now. But how do I get the key items that I need to finish the seed? Because I've run out of objectives. Like, I need to find some key items. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just like, all right, where can I go to get some key items to do the things I need?
Don't mention where I happen to be at this point in time.
Doing the key item checks. Hey, let's go. All right. No, that's not this. Okay. This seed is very funny.
If you say so.
I do say so. In fact, because that's go mode, but it's a very cursed go mode. This is awful. Okay. I think I know the play. This play is very funny and not liable to go well, but we'll give it a shot.
So that's another aspect. It's definitely more prominent in a 6 out of 8 flag set, but even looking at, say, our upcoming tournament OMG, which is 7 out of 8, you can kind of be in go mode, like a faux go mode. I think we've all had the quote unquote where you have one of those objectives that is almost a hard wall, but even when it's not, it's just really tricky. Is there ever a thought in your head about, like, do I just go ahead and fade this and keep going for the key item that I need to get to another objective, or do you prefer just to, like, figure out your boss strat and get through it?
I struggled with this with the actual Potion Party, because I would get into go mode, but it'd be awful bosses on the moon. If I had found worse things potentially, then okay, maybe I do something else. But I do not need to go here yet. I need to go somewhere else first. I think the people who built the flag set really did a good job of making it a really hard decision to, like, deciding whether or not to do certain things, like picking just the fights and, like, trying to figure out how you're going to do the fights versus doing the not objectives, the key item checks that are involved to get whatever. and like Sylph Cave exists, and so the key items you could need are just in Sylph Cave. But like if you don't have a good sweeper, then Sylph Cave is kind of a mess. So I think both ways turned out to be like fairly relevant in the tournament. My 1 and 2 record in Potion Party indicated that maybe I took the wrong approach to the flags, but you know what? We're having fun. All right.
Exactly. That's the goal at the end. Same thing for you, Garen. Did you ever have a situation where you looked at the boss and said, you know what, I'd rather not, though?
I'm probably sure I did. I mean, I have to think about it, but it seems logical.
I mean, hypothetically, if faced with that situation, do you ever have a preference between, like, let me just kind of utilize my strats and maybe a little bit of board AI favorability, give it a couple whacks and take a wipe or two, or just going back to the key item grind?
If I have a key item that looks like it's gonna be a lot easier, I might do that instead. But it's gonna depend on the situation.
I think one of the hallmarks of this flag set was the Gauntlet at Masa, and you know, it's a meme in and of itself, but much more applicable in this flag set when it is an objective, or any what that has as objective.
Okay. That. And sure. What was down here? Come on. Oh, that's so good. Well, we take that. We take that. All right. Actually, we also... Oh, yeah. There it is. I found it. Is that enough? It is enough. Cool. All right. That's fine. This is fine. Probably. Custom. You know what? No, we're... Okay. Okay, so remember that Dark Imps at, you know,
I know where it is.
Leviathan spot?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this.
Once again, that cursed go mode.
Absolutely cursed as heck go mode. Yeah, that's fine. Do that. Okay. Nope. That. It's fine. It's fine. Silk web. Got him.
Yeah, this is a tricky one, kind of working on a strat that's, I wouldn't say niche per se, but definitely not as common. You know, I think a lot of people don't necessarily use this when faced with a situation it could be as useful. Do you ever kind of balance when to execute on this versus just full power, full steam ahead?
I think I'm definitely... So I know way too much about the game, and so what'll happen is I'll big brain my way into strats that are like maybe not a good idea, And so here we are. Where I bought 20 illusions. They're there. I think this, yeah, we're done. Okay. Boom boom. Let's go, Sid. Let's go, Sid. In this case, it worked out okay. I think the idea is you want to use the strats that will get you through the seed, and if you think the other person won't do them and it'll give you an advantage, you do it. The glass hat from that fight is really funny. That should
What a band.
be go mode or GG.
Back to this GG Scythe.
Wow. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what the appropriate strategy for that was, but like once I found Cecil on the moon, knowing that I could just do like a cover strats type thing with illusions and blink and getting Edward the spoon so that he could do Zerk damage, and then Palom, of course. Like I had the tools. It's just I needed to get some levels because I wasn't going to be able to get through that unless I could RA1 anchor and then also do damage quickly.
Mhm.
So I found the go mode and then I beelined that fight once I had done some other stuff. the the thing that you could see though is that it was slow, right? So potentially if you find your go mode somewhere else, you go faster. And so like a 128 on this seed is I don't think I'm qualified to tell you if that's good or not, but given the like 5 minutes of wipes earlier in the seed, I guess we'll take it.
So, Scythe, I know you've been practicing OMG. You're on the admin crew for that as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious, some of your thoughts on taking this potion party flag set, obviously K-Trap being probably the biggest one here, and how you have a thought towards applying the knowledge that you picked up on the seed, on Ebon Elixir, and helping that translate over to our newest tournament.
I think for me, this flag set helps you recognize that you can do a little bit more with less, but also it really forces you to um, figure out your routing and deciding what's worth, what isn't, and where you're going to get your power from. The power is different, right? On Omnidextrous, you just pick up T Pro chess and have a bunch of power, but um, you're also looking for, I guess, ways to defeat trap chess quickly. I did not necessarily defeat trap chess quickly, but I did some of it, and it was fine in the end. But they also changed the way you play because, like, oh no, I got the Luca key in Lower Babel. Like, hello? It's kind of a meme. Also, the pan being in the back of Sylph is also very funny.
Right there, right for the turn in. But similar question for you, Garen. Garen, have you been practicing the OMG flag set, or kind of have perused it and looked over the next tournament flag set?
Not yet, no.
So maybe even outside of that, what are some of the things that you would take away from a flag set like Potion Party that's maybe a little more unique, especially with the team money, in thoughts towards putting it to a one-on-one race in a tournament setting?
Mm, well, I think doing the early traps is probably the better thing to do in Evelyn because fading that for a very long time didn't help at all.
I kind of agree with that, honestly. Like, making sure you're comfortable taking the monster boxes at different points. Like, when it's relevant to take them, can you do it? With the trap kit, you have Oh, that's also very funny. With the trap kit, you have ways to get through these chests. Um, and otherwise, it's like, well, oh my god, are you for real? Garen, did you find Twin Harp or Tower Key?
No.
Okay. I also did not. Uh,
Which at this point, I'm gonna guess one of them is on the giant traps.
nope.
And no? Hmm.
No.
Well, you didn't finish at the sealed cave, so it's
They're
uh
very funny. They're very funny.
Every seed has to have a couple jokes. The memes
um,
don't come out of thin air; they write themselves sometimes.
yeah. And making sure to pay respects to our restreamer Harumph. I will not check music. Uh,
I got harmed last night because I did not do the harp in the community race. So
mm.
Yeah, as a fellow racer, I feel like trap chests are a very interesting proposition. You know, obviously K Trap is on for Evelyn Extra League, on for the OMG, but even outside of that, the likelihood of gear if you're faced with a early party that really is struggling for it, say Kane or something like that, and then also the experience. I think I spoke to that earlier, asked you both about that. Um, you know, unfortunately, Palom came from Dwarf Castle, but if you have an overworld Palom, that experience can be really instrumental in getting him to really strong punches like Virus or even Quake. So I
Ye-
think that I do agree that that is a very useful tool to have to kind of think about your strats for taking, especially Evelyn trap chests. You know, they almost become like in the same way that you work on your boss strats. Like, how can I get through those ogres that are super punchy, but man, you can mash the heck out of them with a mute deck or rune X.
hmm
I mean the
Yeah,
Elven Bow
and
was there early, so that was
Mhm.
set.
oh, you found an elven bow? Did I find an elven bow? I don't think so. I got the rune axe from Shield One.
Yeah, I had Elven Bow within about I think 5 minutes. It might have been from Mist.
Yeah, it was definitely
Ah,
definitely a shop. I do forget which one. But
okay.
yeah, a little bit of a niche one, right? Everyone remembers the Ruin Axe and the Mute Knife, but Elven Bow does do mage mashing gear regardless of type of arrow. But I
Yep.
do forget, can you double up with mute arrows or does it cap?
No, it only you can only hit racial weakness once, which
Hmm.
means the Mad Ogres can only be hit for 4 times damage. If you did like Charm Elven, that only hits 4 times. You can hit, and this is relevant for the OMG. You can hit one elemental weakness and one racial weakness, and then those will stack. But you cannot do two racial or two elemental.
Yeah, also good to keep in mind with Yang's Claws. You know, we all love a good Thunderclaw punch, but you can't double up on it, or at least not,
Yeah,
and get the bonus from it.
yeah. Yang's always looking for cat claw, and then pick your favorite elemental claw that you double up on. The fun part is when you see Kainatsu and Yang is your Zerker, and then you do Thunderclaw, Ice Claw, and then hits double, no matter if the water is raised or not. That one's always fun.
Apparently, if you
Ugh.
take off your bow, you punch with an arrow. That's good.
Yeah, I forget if you waste your arrows if you do that. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Does it still use the arrow?
D- I'm pretty sure. Well, it might, but it definitely does not like give you the weapon power. So you can't get dragon killing in Omnidextrous by like slapping an Artemis arrow alongside your like crystal sword. That does not work.
Yeah,
Uh,
unfortunately, one of the bummers of Omnidextrous is it really does kind of nerf arrows, bow and arrow
yeah,
strats.
yeah, which is unfortunate because bow and arrow strats are really fun a lot of the time. Uh, but yeah, so potion party. How do I feel about Potion Party now that I've done this? What I found is that some of the Feymarch fights are really kind of nasty. Um, and so I think that's where you're taking the nicher strats and tossing them. Like if you know some niche strats and they're not slow, then it'll get you through the seed. So like because I could do dark imps with illusions and cover strats, I didn't need to um I didn't need to go hunting for the terminal key items that I, you know, wasn't gonna ever find.
Considering they have to be probably in the hook trap chest, I'm guessing based on what my distribution is at this point.
No, no. How's your how's your progress going, Garen?
I just got the first one a couple of seconds ago.
No, okay, all right.
Yeah, going for flame drug chest and failing a couple times, then fading Eblin, not probably the best way to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the problem with Eblin, right? Is that even on T Pro, the chests are just so overpowered, and like they also have 3 chests. So you've got your 2 guaranteed like in the pool spots, and then you also have a 50-50 for the third to be in the pool. And so Castle Eblin is like more likely than not to be really loaded
Hmm.
compared to other stuff. So like I also faded Castle Eblin because I thought you went to it. And I was like, I'll go somewhere else. It's fine.
I
And then
eventually went there, just not very early.
yeah, yeah. I went and got like I did Dwarf Castle and I got Palom, and then was like, all right, I'll go get some levels. I'll get Palom Quake, and then I'll go do some stuff. And then I wiped to the Black Hat Lamia chest because I did an Hourglass, right? Uh, that was that was a mistake. Um, but you know, it's that's one of those reasons where you're trying to use everything at your disposal. So like using all of your hourglasses, using all of your spells and utility. Um, if I had found Bacchus wine, I would have used those. I did not find Bacchus wine. Um,
Yeah, I didn't find any Bacchus wine either in this thing, so
Yeah, those J items were put back in, but they were still elusive, unfortunately. At least probably the
yep.
most coveted one. So, Garen, I apologize. I'm misremembering. Did you play in the Evelyn Elixir League? Did you compete?
Yeah, this was the spring one, right?
Yes, correct.
yeah,
Yeah, I did. I think I was 500 through most of it.
nice.
Gotcha. Was this a flag set seeing this come up in Tournament Prep League that you were looking forward to? Because I think I feel like it was a pretty interesting flag set that that a lot of people or some people maybe weren't as favorable with. So was this something you were looking forward to?
I did better in the potion party than I did in the other part, so
The Moonveil mixer part. I don't know.
Likewise for me as well. I guess I asked because I think that's one of the nuances of the community is you really can't necessarily please everyone with tournament flags, and our admin teams and the flag builders do a perfect job. But let's say you're as a racer, you look at a tournament flag set, and it's not maybe not your favorite. You're not seeing stuff that you like. We're all here to play a game and have a good time. Um, do you have anything that you do mentally? Do you just say, hey, I'm not going to have fun with that, and let me go ahead and sit this one out, or do you maybe say, hey, I'm going to have fun because this is a game I really enjoy. Let me just run it for the joy of playing the game, even if it's not my favorite flag set.
I haven't skipped a tournament yet because I didn't necessarily like the flag set. So no, I'll probably still end up playing in OMG and giving it a try. It's probably not going to go all that well, but you know,
Yeah, I skipped. So full disclosure, I'm not playing in OMG this time around. I'll be one of the non competing admin team members. But uh, what I find is like when I'm presented with a flag set, I'm really like sometimes okay, there are some things like if someone puts E danger on, okay, maybe I'm not going to appreciate that flag set. Um, but I found there are lots of different things that can make a flag set really interesting, and I find just like diving into what makes the flag set cool helps me enjoy it, even if it's like okay, I'm gonna get beat like there are going to be races where I last location a required monster box, and that's okay. Uh, I just have to I just have to remember that you know what the game's fun, uh, even if I last location something, and I can enjoy the flag set creation al- as like in addition to and alongside um, the idea of like oh well I need to grind the flag set to be good at it and figure out the meta, right? I can enjoy the flag set without necessarily having to do that. And I think Potion Party was a really good, uh, definitely like as the first time we've ever put K Trap on in a tournament flag set. Like it was really good. Like Potion Party was a lot of fun, and it made you think about the game differently, and that's something I really enjoyed about and enjoy about our tournaments is that they make you think about the game in a way you hadn't quite done before. And hopefully that's what we do with OMG, uh, getting you to think about the game in a different way.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I struggle with Potion Party a little bit, but at the same time, I really enjoy Free Enterprise's randomizer, and like you said, I think there are good things in what you can learn from Flag Set. Like I think I learned how to shop better, even though it was S Wild. I think one of the things I really learned is I do like to maybe see a few more of my characters before I really dig into shopping, even in say a T Wildish, a standard kind of more basic flag set that doesn't have some of the nuance. So I think there's a lot to learn there, but always a little bit of a balance because at the end of the day, it's a game, right? We're all here to have fun, and I think that's one of the things that everyone kind of has to decide is, are you still going to have fun with it? And it's okay to say, I'm not having fun. Maybe I'll sit this one out.
That honestly, that's like we say this is the tournament preparation league, but it's also like becoming more mature and more comfortable with the game and like understanding how you feel about the game and where your place in the game is. And like being able to say, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to do restream stuff. Shout outs to our restream team. Thanks, Harump, for restream and Scarcer for tracking. And of course, Beauty on comms. This obviously the setup is a little bit different here in Tournament Preparation League, but um, even if like the flag set isn't so good, you can or like so up your alley per se, you can always enjoy watching the races, or you can help out with the restream as well. So if you want to join the restream team, you can do so on our Discord. I'm not looking at chat, but I can. Hopefully, someone's putting the Discord link in chat.
Yeah, GG's to Garen. That is a very tricky Dimps fight there.
Hey,
We're
GG.
Yeah, we were talking about the Be No Free, and they are probably some of the worst Be No Freers because that is three punches, and in a punchy spot, they hurt three times as much as just
Yeah.
a single old punchy boss like Antlion or Octomam.
How'd you get through, Garen?
Oh, it was cover strats as well.
Cover
That's
strats? Yeah, yeah.
a little bit tricky because I didn't have the agility setup quite right. So, yeah,
Mm,
it was a little bit wonky, but we got through.
nah, fair enough. Uh, so the spoiler reel, uh, both the tower key and the twin harp are in the same room in Sylph Cave. Like we were never finding those because we didn't have RA1 Palom.
Um, I went there even though I didn't have RA1 pal. I mean, it's something you can do.
Oh, you found them?
No, I Went far
Oh,
enough to get the
okay.
pan.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. Oh, so you did the back side of Sylph, but
I went
the
to the
but the
back
items
first.
were in the
Yeah.
front side.
Well, there was a pan in the back. I did find that, so
Oh no.
So I think
Hmm.
that's another interesting point. Self cave, obviously, I think a lot of people, even with K trap, try and stay away from it. It's a little tricky. It's a long slog if it doesn't pay out. But you ended up only doing the backside, Garen. Did you have a thought to doing the front side as well and just full wiping, or were you trying to think, let me, what was your thought process there?
I was going through and seeing if I could find something that was gonna maybe possibly give me access to key items. Found the pants, like, all right, let's cash this in, see what we find. It turns out that, well, there was nothing there. So
Did
she was
Sheila have any goods?
I think she had something for a character not carrying the seed, if I recall.
Of course.
I have a white spear, I have Hanzo steel. Those are not terribly helpful.
Mm. Did we have the same party? Cecil, Edward, Sid, Palamporum?
Yes, we are running the same party.
Okay, yeah. It's really interesting. Like I got the sand ruby from Seal Cave, and like I never bothered to check because I was just looking for one key item, and I figured, you know what, this team is probably fine. Pretty sure
Well,
Fusaya's not on the seed, so like,
for shits and giggles, since I'm actually heading to get the hovercraft anyways.
ooh,
Who's here? Just a duplicate.
okay,
Another
yeah, this
copy of
seed's really interesting.
another
Like,
copy of Giannis. I don't know who the seventh is yet.
huh?
I mean, I think Giants and
Giant and
Package are the
Package are
only,
it.
yeah, that's it.
Did I?
Well,
Hmm.
and hook route character would also be a character check.
Oh, that's
True.
true. I never
Yeah.
never bothered with that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it
Garen
sounds like you
did
didn't
get
ever have to do it, so
Yeah, true. Um, so you found Yang at was Yang at Zot?
yeah, Yang was at Zot, along with
Okay.
Cecil.
Okay, okay. I faded Zot completely.
Which
and then
turns
he
out to have been a wise play given what was actually there.
It turns out, what was
that
it like? Wyvern?
No, it was Evil Wall was the second spot, and the first spot was King Queen Evelyn.
Oh, that's kind of grumpy. Like
that
especially earlier in the seed, it's kind of hard to get through that much HP.
that Cecil though up on Zot was pretty interesting pickup right there. Kind of having him that much sooner than on the altar.
That's true. Yeah, I definitely did not have Cecil for a while. Um,
Yeah, with the kind of the intent to look at this as a bracket seed, I think that really changes the dynamic of Cecil, at least from my perspective as a runner, because suddenly S Wild being off, you can't just go buy yourself an Avenger or an Excal. I think Crystal Swords were there too, but goodness, so expensive. So it kind of changes that prospect. So, I guess the character distribution did pay out the way it did. But let's say if you did have an Edge versus a Cecil, or maybe a Cecil versus a Kane, maybe Garen starting. Would you actually have a thought to fading Cecil, knowing you can't just go buy the power with him?
Well, given the choices in the seed right now, I would have taken him anyways because Yang takes a long time to power up. It's a win game seed. You have good to see, so it's a lot of investment, and you can do cover strats with Cecil. It's what he's basically here for. Because the best I have for him is a light sword.
yeah, that was the best I had. I think depending on gear, right? Like the melee characters are really gear dependent, especially Edge. Like Edge is really gear dependent. Cecil has the utility of cover strats sort of regardless, right? So he's so good with that, and he sort of nullifies um a lot of punchy boss spots just because of that. Kane and Edge, like because of E no XP, Edge's utility is a little bit more limited to like you have early AoE maybe, and you can steal like Bacchus wines if you just can't find them. Uh,
kind of silk
I don't
web if
know.
it's a thing. I assume you did find the silk webs eventually, right?
So I said, "Have I found silk webs?" And then I looked at my inventory. I had 3 silk webs. I don't remember where I got them, but uh
I think they were for sale in the same place that had the was it the vampires? They were there was a really stocked shop, and I know I got silk webs from there, and you know
mm.
that's how I got through the evil wall. I was basically double or triple silk webbed it, and then it's like okay, just get through until you get to your crush phase, and then just do life roulette, and it worked.
Fair enough. I guess if you have like if you don't have enough power to sort of like punch through it, why not? The I don't know. I bought like 20 illusions in Dwarf Castle. That was far more illusions than required given the power I had. But um illusions are also really good. Uh turns out. Yeah, one of the shops I
Uh,
found had like star veils, exits, life potions, something else. I spent I don't know 20K in that shop.
oh yeah, it
Yeah,
was a good shop.
yeah, that was the one I remember you saying it was fairly early on and you weren't quite rich quite yet, so you had to make some hard decisions.
I think I chucked the crystal armor in that shop. Like here, have this armor that I guess I would have used at the end of the game, but I bought a dragoon armor anyway. It's fine.
I think Garen called that earlier. That's a stack of cash to start with.
Yes. Yep.
The trap chest in the annoying spot probably just has nothing in it. Let's see.
Yeah, kind of showing off one of the trickier sides to vanilla traps not
Oh,
being honest.
there's the
Sometimes that one you need is way back there.
there's the dragoon armor you just bought. Okay.
Yeah, another one of the fun faucets of trap chests with S Wild. More than once you pull gear out of a trap chest that you just spent a stack on.
Well, S Wild would have been
Yeah.
nice. This is not S Wild, unfortunately.
Yeah. So one we haven't really talked we talked a little bit about what S standard with J items kind of does in terms of shifting where power is from shops. I think the other thing it does is it kind of like it really tilts the seed towards mages. Um like I realize that I have 2 mages and 3 zerkers, and in the end I did cover strats for bosses. That's fine. But um it's really interesting that because with mages you just need levels, you don't necessarily need the gear. You're going to find some of the gear from your monster boxes, and as standard has decent gated shops, but definitely like there are some really interesting changes from how Potion Party worked that I think mimic a little bit how Adamant Cup worked when in the change from the Swiss rounds into bracket. Swiss rounds, group stage into brackets. Because Adamant Cup sort of reduced some of the availability of gear and really sort of tilted the power dynamic more towards the mages. Uh, this flag set, you don't really have the same D machine option anymore because of no experience. So I would it'd be interesting to like if this had been a full bracket stage flag set, like what it would have been like. Really interesting. I think it would have been more mages, but maybe not.
More glass helms. Okay. Let's see. Was there anything useful here at these shops? No. Eblin had light sword and samurai bow, and that's about it.
I see.
The
And
glass
nothing
helm's
really
not
good
a
next.
bad. Yeah, glass helm's not a bad pickup for that Odin.
I have two now because I got the one from the
Dark Hymns fight.
Dark Imp, so
So Garen, you sort of did a bunch of stuff on the overworld, built up your power, and then did your Fey March, and then now you're going to the moon to finish?
I only have 3 objectives marked off here, so I still need to get something
Hmm.
else.
Ah, I see, I see.
I either need an adamant, or I need a harp, or I need a tower key.
Ah, I see, I see. Ah, yes.
Ah, well, there's the adamant. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, now you're in go mode.
The lovely double vanilla there.
Yeah.
Extra fun that it's, key items that lead to each other too. So it's like two and a
Oh,
half vanilla.
I didn't realize the adamant and legend were both vanilla items. That's funny. They were in their vanilla locations.
As was one of the bosses on Ordeals. Yes,
Yeah, that's
I believe
it
it
was a thing.
was it Rat Tail from the chest in Fey March as well?
no, that was the Earth
No,
Crystal. Rat Tail
Ah,
was I
that was
didn't write
somewhere
that.
early, I think.
Was the Antlion Cave? Yeah. Yeah, it was like Rubikint and Antlion Cave or something like that.
Yes, which I had ice arrows for, which was kind of nice after I found them. Or they would have really helped out a lot if I'd had them earlier.
I had the ice arrows. Edward tried to shoot Rubikint with the ice arrows. He did not succeed. Um, and triggered the fire 2 counter anyway.
Life staff, defense sword, ribbon. Okay, well that's not too bad, I guess.
No, you're gonna like the forge item even more.
Let's see, Gigant is it? No, Torhammer. Okay.
Yeah. I think Scarcer called that in our chat um before the stream.
I think so.
Yeah, it's very good.
A very nice weapon to pick up for that Odin because it does have that thunder damage, and it's
Ooh, you could Zerk Sid, let's go. Depending on how much how many hit points Sid has, you could probably just Zerk Sid.
It might be
Illusion,
doable. Of
Bacchus.
course, you can always hide Eddie too, and then he survives.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I did Eddie strats on the Odin. But like I had battle speed 3 on, and like I think if you like lit 3 plus Thor hammer is probably like pretty enough.
Never be too sure.
True, true. Huh.
Okay, let's see. And sword on you.
Oh
Do I have
yeah.
anything else to equip you with? Oh, sure, glass. That would be good.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I gotta get that off. Mm, mm. This will give you a glass too. Why not?
And it's at some point your characters need to live, right? Probably. 30
Uh,
extra defense is nothing to sneeze at.
it might be overrated. You never know.
Uh, that was something that we found in Potion Party, right? Was because you could just buy glass hats on the overworld. Um, defense is good. Like Potion Party was maybe the first tournament flag set we ever had where defense and like defense gear actually played a really big role in how we handle um, different parts of fights. Because a lot of the way we play free enterprise is like RA1, like sweep the opponents or do zerking or whatever. But defense actually matters, especially on C Hero when you can't necessarily get your anchoring.
Yeah, I think especially with Overworld, you kind of put in some situations where you can get through a fight by having the defense and just taking one damage. It's gonna take a while, so now suddenly you have that the time proposition, right? At the end of the day, this is a race. I can take this boss, only taking one damage, but I'm swinging a silent staff or something like that, but
Yeah,
is
that's
that the
true.
right choice, or do you come back with like a little bit more strength? I felt very similar to like the boss checks in Blue Moon, where it was a boss hunt. Like, do you go into a very early waterfall or a mist cave and check those bosses and maybe check off someone on your hit list, or do you come back when you know you can solo swing it?
Yeah, that's true. I know.
Ooh.
I think defense gear can is really helpful. Maybe a little bit less so for bosses, unless it's like one of the big punchers. But the monster boxes, right? Like if you're in, I labbed this out because it was funny. You can take base level Palom and like Rosa into Castle Eblin and do the Mad Ogre's chest if you have a glass hat and a rune ring. And of course the assassin dagger that you start with on Potion Party. You can just make that work, turns out. Um, it's very funny, but it works because Palom just has just enough defense to negate pretty much everything that the Mad Ogres can throw at you. So that's a strat where it's like, how early do you take these monster boxes? Well, kind of early actually. And then if you life glitch two of the three ogres, all of a sudden you're looking at like 15k experience, or I don't know, it's like 13k experience. And on Palom, that gets him most of the way to Virus. I think anyway. I'd have to check.
It's been a while. I want to say it gets him to. I think it gets him to Virus, but that's
Let's
some
find out. Palom.
beautiful quad nines from that Thor hammer sit on that Odin.
Ooh, let's go.
Chef's kiss.
Mwah. Okay. Uh okay, I think a life ogre or 2 out of 3 mad ogres doesn't quite get you to Virus, but like your next fight would get you to Virus. So that's like defense lets you do some really interesting things, and it makes a lot of fights safer. There are certainly some instances where uh, if you're going sort of all out offense, sometimes if you just get bored AI'd, you can't get your fight going. But defense lets you like, oh, my Cecil got punched. It's fine. He only took 200 damage, and he's still gonna Zerk with the crystal sword now. Um, so there's like pros and cons to setting up in different ways. And I think it's just knowing when one strategy is really good compared to another strategy is something that you build intuition for as you play in different flag sets, you play in different tournaments and learn different metas. Uh, so definitely building that experience is something that gets you there.
Now, Garen, I forget the first trip to the moon. Did you end up making the dive down to check the Masamune altar?
I did not check this. This is going to be a surprise when I pop this open.
Ooh, exciting.
I mean, you do have quite a bit of power at this point, and the levels. Are you still like coming down here? Do you have a concern? Are you thinking about what bosses you haven't faced, maybe putting together your strats? Or are you feeling really confident going into this fight?
Well, this is not exactly what I'd like to see down here, that's for sure.
No, that's when I got down here, I was significantly less leveled, I think, than you. Um, and I said, "Aha, I can do this."
Which, come to think of it, if I recall correctly, there was a seed not long ago where, yes, I seem to recall there was an early D-lunar on the moon, and it's like, well, I have the Star Veils. I have enough defense so I can survive this. So, okay. And then I think I had whoever my character was at the time literally attacking with some thing for like less than or damage a cycle, so it took forever to get
Oh
there.
no.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that was
Oh
just not
no.
fun. And of course, I'm realizing at this point that I don't have more. I only have 1 star veil, so this is going to be a little bit tricky.
Ah, does
Ooh.
Porum have wall?
He does not.
Ooh, well,
So this could be interesting.
let's see. Do your characters have any status resist?
Uh, Forum has the ribbon on, I think.
Okay. So skip the veil on Porum, put it on someone else.
Well, it's going on Cecil at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Do you know how to handle the fight after um like if you only get one frog?
I know it's not going to be good if I do get more than one, but
Well, no. Like if Breath's gonna hit. Breath will bounce off Cecil and hit one of the frogs or one of the
which,
D-lunars, turn him into a frog.
yep, and only
Um,
one got hit.
okay, so you hit the frog because the frog is the one that triggers the wall counter. But if it's
Mhm.
frog, then it.
Yeah, then it won't actually be there. I know.
Yeah, perfect. That's good.
Yeah.
I bring this up because my potion or so my Eblin Elixir League team had the worst luck with frog strats. I think between me, Fallgran, Wreckit, and Flurry, we had like 1 out of 10 successful double frogs. Like it was bad.
It can be tricky sometimes too. The strat then is that the 1D lunar is going to start virusing the frog, but it could be tricky. That frog eventually goes away, and you still have to get through a D lunar that's going to start firing and hitting you.
Yeah.
Starting right about now.
Oh no. You can always if Palom is alive and has fire 3, you can bounce fire 3. That doesn't trigger the
It's down.
counter. It's down. GG.
GG's.
Let's go, Garen.
Oh, white sphere. Okay, thank you.
I know, right?
I'm sure there's a Christmas sword somewhere up here, just not here, obviously.
Just not there.
Always love
Yeah.
getting the item
Ugh.
that will kill the boss you just fought.
Yeah. And don't forget to hit done for us.
Oh, right, yeah.
And with that,
There you
GG's to
go.
both of you for a well-run race.
GG. This
I
seed
think one
was
of us had a
not
well-run race, but
well, I would say that this seed, much like the async race, was
Yes.
not easy.
I haven't actually
It,
done the async race. Spoiler
oh,
alert.
it was a riot. There were some shenanigans. But this seed, you started with very little, right? There wasn't a lot of power, and you had to figure out how to build power, and sort of see where you're going from there. And that's like that is a hallmark of I think a lot of bracket phase flag sets where there's like a group stage, like a slightly easier flag set, and then they take away some of the toys. Um, this I think Potion After Party definitely took away some of the toys, but you had to figure out what to do after that.
I
And
think
that was definitely a thing. My goodness.
I think
I
it's
had
go ahead, Garen. I apologize.
I had much better runs in the other seed that I ran this week. So
Yeah, it's and like it always happens. Like on K Trap especially, the 3 required not okay. What to do? So there was Cave Magnus, Super Cannon, and Sealed Cave. Actually, yeah, those 3 items, right, were all in monster boxes. So we needed to find one of them. It turns out that 2 of them were just in the same room in Self Cave in the front half, right? And then
Yes,
like the adamant was through the hook, which is at Warrior's chest. So like there's a lot that can sort of happen just in terms of variability.
well, hey, I mean the Sylph Cave. I mean there are seeds that the Sylph Cave can come up totally empty with 0. I have seen
Ugh.
seeds on this flag set that have had 5 key items in the Silk Cave.
5. That's so many. Oh my god.
And the thing is, I think out of those 5, I think only one of them was actually anywhere usable towards the
Oh
seed.
no.
Oh man.
5 key items and only 1 useful. Oh no.
So I think if you were
Oh,
going through that and you
geez.
saw like at least you're on key item 2 or 3, it's like, I'm gonna bail. Why keep going through this? And it's like, well, if you didn't get the right one,
Yeah, so that's that. I think maybe the last thing I'll say about sort of K-Trap impacting routing decisions is like, when do you bail? Right? If you find some stuff, when do you bail? And I don't know if there's like I don't think there's a solution for that. You're sort of just trusting that like the odds are gonna favor you, and at some point we have to remember Rando's gonna rando. I think Rando randoed a little bit towards me and not Garen this seed. But I could have been I could have full cleared this seed if I hadn't found the adamant exactly where I found the adamant. So definitely definitely a rando gonna rando moment.
and there are from plenty of those.
Well, thank you both for such a great race. I think one last thing we'll start with Garen here. What is your final thoughts on the seed and maybe some of the things that you can take from this particular flag set and put towards your next tournament race and try and learn from what you've taken here at this race?
Well, definitely being a bit more favorable towards the early trap chests would be a thing to take into the next ones, and maybe trying a little bit more niche strategies every now and again with some of these bosses. It's like, I might could have taken some of these a little bit earlier than I did. Trying to get power to take longer signs than it'll take to just get slogged through it.
And likewise for you, Sai.
I mean, don't wipe to CPU in the Ordeal's changing room by hitting it with a rune axe and then switching to Earth Hammer and then forgetting that the big orb's gonna get healed. Like, don't do that. Is a suggestion.
You quaked it and then you got globed. Okay,
I got globed. I didn't know that spot globes for 9999, but now I do. It's really funny.
Certainly one of the fun nuances with a C hero seed where you've got one and done up there, not your full party.
Yeah, I did not consider that it was not gonna end well. But yeah, I think definitely, like, realistically, if like, I don't know when my next tournament race is gonna be. It's not gonna be this one, but like in the future, definitely trying to play simultaneously, like, know what my strengths are and knowing what my party's strength is, and is gonna let me better understand when to do riskier things and when to not, right? So making sure I make full use of all my items and full use of my wealth of knowledge of the game. I know a lot about the game. Just putting that into practice, right? Takes of course practice, but also just being like, not doing something very risky for no reason. You can do risky things for good reasons, just don't do them for no reason. I think that's like, if I'm going to be competitive, that's something that I need to keep in mind, is like making sure I take appropriate risks and gambles and not sort of inappropriate risks and gambles.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap up our restream tonight, any last thoughts?
Shout outs to our restream crew. And be sure to join the restream team if you're interested in helping out putting on restreams like this one, and like some of our other races. Like, we've got another community race on Monday. So if you're interested in doing some tracking or learning how to restream and show us what's going on with the races, head on over to the Discord and come check us out. In terms of like actual TPL stuff, I think shoutouts to Possum and Y2 Sky. I think this is probably the last tournament preparation league thing for now. They've done a really good job of encouraging folks to try different flag sets, really put some effort into thinking how are they going to play the seed, and getting people to watch each other's VODs and learn from each other. I think all of that is really impressive, and probably like we should do this again for sure. We'll see what the flag sets will be. We'll find out, but definitely shout outs to Possum and Y2 Sky for putting this together, and hopefully we can do it going forward. Also, remember to use I'll shout out the Lewis script that some of us use for it's a summary log, which means it can help you learn how much time your fights are taking and things like that. I didn't use it for this race, but I've used it for the 8th, and it's a really good tool for helping you see where you might gain or lose time compared to other racers. So if you're interested in that, head on over to the Discord and check out the Tools and Projects channel.
Yeah, the Discord is an absolute wealth of knowledge and a really great community as well. I can definitely vouch for being on the Restream team. It's always a good time getting to know more folks here and kind of contribute to not only community, but a game that I really enjoy. And everyone is everything if not helpful in being available to teach you, answer your questions. Really not quite as intimidating as I thought it was going to be, even as someone who's maybe a little more socially introverted. So that was really great. Garen, for you, any last thoughts on your end before we wrap up for the evening?
I'll just say try not to schedule your races so that you're running from dinner. That's probably not the best way to start.
Well, but you had a really great omelet, and that's okay.
I did. Oh yeah, I mean, rando's gonna rando. Some seeds are great. Some seeds are, oh boy, made all the wrong choices. But what are you gonna do?
Yep, I think we've all been there. Well, thank you again, Scythe and Garen, for volunteering to racing and joining me here in the booth as a commentator. As Scythe was saying, thank you to our Restream team, Scarsur for tracking, Harum for restreaming for us tonight. As Scythe was mentioning, our next race is going to be this coming Monday. Our next restream is going to be this coming Monday with the community race, which is going to feature our upcoming tournament flag set, so you can further hone those tournament skills as we get ready for that to kick off very, very soon. But for tonight, we're going to be rating Rybon. So come on along with us, join us, and say hello to another fellow member of the community as he runs his seed